Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Deeply Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deeply Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 368. Today is Saturday, May 8th, 2021, and I'm glad you could join me today. It is a beautiful sunny day in San Francisco, so that was super lovely. It is post-tandem north of the bridge, so feeling a little tired right now. And what would it be? Better planning. I made sure to have 2 coffees before leaving, so that made me feel pretty good. But then after returning, it was like, yeah, it would be nice to just have 3rd coffee now. So I've been trying to have less, but it just seemed like it's the right way to go today. So not too crazy, but so I am in comfy leggings and a sweater because it is actually pretty warm, so definitely can handle a linen sweater today. So I'm not gonna complain about that for sure. But what would it be? See, I was hoping that I would be able to have finished a round of this before bringing it on, but then I started a row beforehand, so oh well, whatever. And what I think, I don't know, I haven't weighed things. It would probably help me plan if I weighed things. So I am knitting the What the Fade. It is an Andrea Mowry pattern, and I am using 6 colors of Stranded Dyeworks Merino singles. So Ice Skating Party, Naive Watercolor, and Blue Rinse are on the cool side. And then Firecracker, Orange Tabby, and Patisserie are on the warm side of the shawl. And at this point, I'm off pattern. I liked my 4-color brioche sections so much that I decided that I should just keep doing it for the rest of the shawl. And what would it be? It's a lot of fun to do. So I have a very, very nice fade going on the cool side. The fade isn't quite so fadey on the other side, but you can sort of see the stark transitions that we're getting with Patisserie, just because it is a way, way paler color. Now, it does have like a pinky warmth to it, and it does have yellow and sort of pinky speckles in it, which do tie it together somewhat. But yeah, it's a big step. I really do love how these colors look on the cool side of the piece, so I do feel like I did make the right choice for the project. Would it be? I'm very excited right now because I am now fading Blue Rinse with Ice Skating Party, and Ice Skating Party has like fun purple speckles in it. And then it's interesting because the red is also playing with the Blue Rinse because it is, what would it be? It isn't a very saturated blurple. It is still, I don't know, like it looked dark, but it isn't super dark. But yeah, no, I am enjoying the project, enjoying where this is going, and I like completely neglected last week to show how far into the shawl that I had gotten. So, whatever. At this point, the rows are getting pretty long, so that's what I need to ponder right now is if I'm going to adjust how many rows of fade I have. based on the fact that I would like to not run out of any color. It would be, let's just say that it would be a very horrifyingly large shawl if I used all 600 grams. Like, that's not gonna happen. But would be the case where, well, it'll continue on. So you can see how everything's coming together. I don't know, this doesn't look nearly as blue as I'm holding it up against all of this blue stuff. Try to bring it closer so you can see how it's beginning to get a little light. The ice skating party is probably the more contrasty of the blues as well. It is pretty pale. So you definitely get like the naive watercolor definitely gives at least a little bit of impression of green. And then we have what's going on this side. And so you can see there is some pretty big contrast with the patisserie, but hey, such is life. Oh man, I'm even gonna have to pay attention, aren't I? Or did I just blow past? I haven't blown past yet. So the other thing is that this is not too frequent, not crazily frequent increase row. So do like kind of sorta need to pay attention, as you do. So this is pretty mindless knitting, but the colors and the sections keep spurring me on. I think the other thing is that it would be very, very delightful to have something very close to completion for the beginning of Stash Dash, because knitting is never my path to victory. Though I do have saved up like a couple of projects for that, so that's good. I noticed that, like my fingerless gloves, the bind off on one of the fingers is not in good shape and probably just needs to be picked out and then replaced with fresh yarn. And I do still have actually a decent amount of yarn from I still have the yarn from the original project. I've probably used a little bit in various things, but not a whole lot. And that is like merino cashmere nylon. I think it's like handmaiden. I don't even know if they're still around. Who knows? So that is a project that I'm planning on doing for Stash Dash, and I'm just avoiding wearing the fingerless gloves in the meantime. They're still living in the coat pocket, but as you do. And then I have the ones where there's going to be an interesting transition that happens at some point. But I need to, I'm pretty sure I knit my mohair silk merino cashmere blend boxy on US 2.5 3mm needles. And that's what I'm knitting my hinterland on as well. So I need to finish the body of that so that I can use those needles in the boxy project. And that will be Mondo Stash Dash yardage. I didn't count for stash batch last year because I finished it, I think, as we were driving from Texas to here to move our stuff. So, and I still need to like finish marking it as well, but I put in like one marker so far where I want to do modifications, and it'll be nice. It'll be nice when I get there. So, that's gonna take a little bit of time and concentration to do. I probably need to do a little bit of research to verify, do like a little bit of research to verify that everything else is correct about that. It shouldn't be too crazy. Like I think I kept good notes. Though we're definitely, or would it be the case where the weather is super duper nice right now, so would it be like the desire to wear that sweater is on the foggy, cool days, and less so on the bright and sunny days. Yeah. Almost done with this row. See, the rows are pretty long on this guy, and it sort of depends on how you want to think about the brioche as well, because would it be? It feels like when you're doing a brioche knit followed by like a yarn over, and like it's the same amount of effort as like knitting like an eyelet lace. It's just not getting you quite as far. So I always feel like a full set of brioche rounds is like 4. It was like color A knitting, color B purling, color A purling, color B knitting. Where knitting really means whatever, burping and burping. But not too crazy. But yeah, no, I think both of these projects are in like a pretty mindless state at this moment. So, like that's the problem when it's the case where all your knitting is mindless. I don't anticipate casting on something new to make something not mindless. That's just where I've ended up right now. So I just have to accept it. But oh my gosh, I'm just so in love with these 4 color sections. So gorgeous. Very excited about how everything is playing together. Very excited about the finished project. Maybe laughing at myself slightly because what would it be? This project is primarily something which ends up taking a bunch of yarn out of my stash, like more than one Ziploc baggie of yarn out of the stash. So that's part of the reason why I think it's exciting. Is like opening up that little bit of space. But I don't know. Let's see if we can get it close enough to the camera where you can see the majesty. Much better. Look at all that majesty. And I'm definitely just in love with the sections that have multiple colors in it. So I am in love. So I have this living in my San Francisco landmarks bag. And all the yarn is hanging out here. If I could tilt it enough to show you. fits quite handily in here. So many gorgeous colors. I haven't used a lot of the red and light blue, so we'll see if this ends up finishing with that in the end, just because you didn't end up using a lot of it at the beginning of the shawl. But very pleased with the project so far, and at this point, like, I'm just off pattern, so what I'm doing is just continuing the first section, whatever, this first brioche section until I'm done, and then I'll figure out how I want the I-cord bind off to look, and I'm entirely skipping the full 6-color fade and just leaving one side blue and one side warm. And it'll be gorgeous and schlunkety, and it'll be good. Not, or would it be, most of the excitement is in the color changes, as you do. So this guy ended up receiving a decent amount of progress this week, it feels like. I don't even know where the marker is on this bad boy. Where are you, marker? Oh, somewhere in the center. So this guy right here is how far I've gotten. Here we go. This is how far I've gotten this bad boy in 2 weeks, so quite a lot of knitting going on. And I will increment the marker so that we can keep track as this goes. Now, is it a good idea to be putting the marker in the center? Who knows? We'll just stick it on the stitch below the one I just did and call it good enough. So we'll see how far I get. I'm assuming that it's going to be going for quite some time. So, Hinterland Sweater now has 2 sleeves. So this one turned out more ketchup and mustard, and this one is probably a little bit more red, but they still look pretty good. I think the reddish one contrasts a little bit more with the blue. And there's definitely sort of like different colors that this is cycling through between the 2 sleeves, but it's, what would it be? I'm not too worried about that. In the process of knitting this sleeve, the food arrived very fast. Well, it's still going to be very delicious if I wait until I'm done podcasting, so no big deal there. It was my idea that we should have been good food, and that I shouldn't cook tonight. So, sleeves are done. I haven't woven in the ends yet, but I did do the tipping bind off that I like to do. And I might try seeing about changing how I finish this guy off, because I think there's like a certain way that I pass the last loop that ends up hiding it a little bit better. And then I ended up carrying up the color for this sleeve, and there are just little hints of it here and there, but I'm not too worried about it, whereas I have 2 ends for this one, so not too crazy. It is whatever. Got some sleeves done. It fits nice. I look cute. I'm happy. And now it is a lot of knitting in the round. So, slightly constrained. So, not that this is probably the best marker right now, and I'll probably end up doing like a tandem thing with this. So, I wasn't too far into the body when I decided to get into the sleeves. So, the little marker is here, and you really can't see that too much, but I managed to probably do at least 1 inch of the body this week, in addition to finishing the sleeve. I think I was in the color work last week. So I will increment the dolphin marker now, and we'll just go in stages. This is now my in the dark knitting. Not that I'm doing a lot of watching of television shows in the dark, but the Dear Sweet Level 1 is very much so enjoying Shadow and Bone, and I am too. He's very into it. That is new on Netflix and has been, what would it be, very enjoyable. So we've been watching an episode before going to sleep. So I think we have like a couple more to go. And then we'll have to wait for it to come out again. What would it be? But that is our current watching together thing. What would it be? We tried to watch Dark Crystal, but what would it be? It's definitely like he wasn't into that. So not too crazy there, but coming along, getting some distance away from the underarms, but not a lot of excitement to be had here. Definitely seems like it's what would it be? It's always interesting because I had this previously a little bit tighter, and then I basically closed off the ends of this by using a locking stitch marker, and that seemed to work fairly well for making sure it didn't pop off when I tried it on. But now, what would it be? It's just onward to the body. So I'll probably need to check the pattern at some point to figure out how far that's supposed to be, but apparently I don't have any tape measures handy, so there is that. But I'll keep on keeping on. It would be nice to get further along, but it would be, just depends on what I'm feeling like and how busy I am and all of that fun stuff. So I have actually managed to do quite a lot of spinning this week. For some reason, my Florida Cracker colored top spin was just like languishing a little bit. Like I just really wasn't in the mood for spinning. But I did finally wrap up the green, and this guy has been done for quite some time. So it's not like me to take so long to finish a project. I don't remember if I started this in March or April, but now we are certainly into May. So I will end up doing a little video about sampling for this. Maybe that'll end up being tomorrow afternoon. We shall see. What would it be like? I have my spindle. Like, it shouldn't be too crazy. And then I'll be able to evaluate what it is that I like and if I'm getting a yarn that I want with it and all of that fun stuff. So there's that. I'm trying to make sure I keep everything decently contained. But I will probably I'm going to need to do some bobbin clearing because, what would it be? I ended up spinning 3 ounces so far. I'll bring this a little bit closer in. So this guy is a little bit darker than these two. So this is the Jacob that I got at Rhinebeck 2017, I believe from Jenny Jump Farm. And so this was in my bin, and I wanted, I'm spinning for a hat called Fog City, which calls for DK weight yarn. So, there we go. Get the focus right on that. And this is from I Knit San Francisco. So it seemed like a lot of fun to spin for a, a lot of fun to spin for a fog-inspired project. And I'm actually a pretty decent way into the final ounce for this project. So, I don't know. It's very interesting to like compare them. So what I ended up doing was I had sort of a grayish brown color and a white color, and what I ended up doing was I ended up mixing them together in order to get sort of softer color transitions. I might have gone a little too far. So the ratio I ended up getting was, would it be, so like 3/8 one, 5/8 the other, which is awfully close to 50/50. I probably should have gone with 1/4, 3/4 instead, but oh well, whatever. And my current plan is actually to make this a full fly. So I think that that'll end up looking very nicely. So this is the darker color, and I am very much so in love with how subtle and interesting this ended up. Just keep gently bringing it closer. It's like I don't want to hold it over my coffee. But I am really loving how the colors turned out in this. I'll gently put that back. And I'm really loving how, would it be, like you can, like, based on what I ended up doing, you end up getting something that is delightfully complicated. Now, we shall see if I end up taking it too far, but, like, trying to think of, it's like we need to have the light on the shine. There we go. It was like needed to get the shine out of it. So, they are different, but it's going to be pretty subtle, as you do. But what this means for me is if I want to make white 4-ply and gray 4-ply, I'll need to wind it off the bobbins, get them into a pair of center pole balls, and then I can 4-ply from there. I was wondering if I could get away with chain ply, and then I said, whatever. So I made 1 ounce bats, because that just comes off the Drum Carter lovely sliver. And then did like a couple of rounds of carding before I was happy with the color that I was getting. So that was a fun project. I didn't end up doing a whole lot of documentation on that one. Though the odds are pretty good. We'll see if I have the, energy or care to do a video for the next set of bats. So, the next thing that I have planned is I have this Leicester long wool, which is super soft and lovely. And so these are 2 ounce bats a piece. And somewhere in here, there's fiber I'm going to card with it. Not that one. I don't think they're going to explode. Maybe it'll be okay. Oh well. Somewhere is the fiber that I'm going to combine with. So I ended up picking up would it be? So I decided to card in blue, big surprise there, to combine with the gray for would it be, and that is Dorset horn that I ended up getting from the 1764 shepherdess. And so I think that'll end up making some fun yarn. There isn't, or would it be, I'm not going to do any like color play with it. It's more like just, would it be mixing it up and getting enough yardage so I can do a bigger project. Because that'll be 8 ounces instead of 4. As you do. So we'll make it work. Shouldn't be too crazy. But yeah, no, I'm sort of glad that the spinning mojo is higher. Like, I ended up doing more than 2 ounces just last night alone. So two of these bobbins, and then everything that ended up filling on there. So that's probably not too much on there. Maybe a quarter. And then I did most of this in an evening as well. So I managed to get pretty far in that project, all things considered. Amazing what you can do when you're spinning thicker. Because the thing about the Fog City pattern is it's 4 DK. So I think 4 applying and spinning thicker than usual should get me across across the finish line for that. It looks like I was close to a DK, like chaining it on itself. So I'm assuming I'm going to be in the right ballpark. And this will actually be an honest to goodness, legitimate fluff to stuff project because I'm spinning specifically for a pattern and just start the whole time, and then I'll make the hat, and that'll be lovely. So would it be, but everything I knit out of hand spun and everything that I'm spinning right now counts for that make along. I don't think there is any make along for the what the fade that I'm doing. That's more just would be making some room in the stash for other yarn. I managed to rejigger things slightly because of that. And then what would it be? It'd be the case where I think mentally I am focused on like fixing the boxy, the V-neck boxy, so I can actually wear it. And so I won't be starting a sweater until I finish fixing that one. What would it be? As you do. Let's see. Which probably means that, what would it be, the next project will be probably some sort of shawl. I'll have to look at the stash and figure out if I want to do another hand spun project or if I want to take another shawl quantity of yarn and actually execute on the plan I made, as you do. What would it be? Like, if I break my stash into various categories, all of the sweaters have a plan. All of the sweaters have a pattern. All of the sweaters are sitting over here. Plenty of sweater yarn. Then we have like the hand spun over here. And that's a little bit more wild and free. Some skeins have plans, some skeins don't have plans. Some skeins were spun for the joy of spinning. So it would be lovely if I figured out what the plan was, but it does take a little bit more thought and care. I have my shawl quantities, and those are mostly yarn that is not meant for the feet. And I did buy them with a specific pattern in mind, and so I have them here-ish, I think, with like a little bit of mixture in there. But like there is a plan, there is something that I want to make with it, and I have everything I need in order to make it. And then there is whatever, like the sock and Volmesa, in which case that would be the case where when it comes to like the lace weight skeins, like I have I need to make a sweater. I just don't know what sweater that's going to be. And then like socks. But I haven't been too much in the sock knitting mood lately. Maybe that might be like a good interim project. I think part of what's getting me right now is just would be like with the shawl quantities is like, oh my gosh, just get on with it already. And to be the case where they are very easy to grab and wear and fun. And as we slowly move to like being around other human beings again, human beings that I'm not married to, it is a lot of fun to like grab a shawl that matches the t-shirt I'm wearing and continue on with my day. So, would it be, though maybe I'm not quite mentally prepared for sweaters for all situations. So, as you do. But I did pull out a sweater for you guys because I had to shower after the bike ride. And I figured it was a perfect day for the linen sweater. Actually, I have 2 linen sweaters and another sweater quantity to do that. I think I had high hopes for would it be being warmer here than it actually is. Oh well. So that's where my brain is right now. There is probably plenty of knitting to go before I actually do need to decide on something new. Would it be, I probably should weigh what the fade yarn and actually figure out where I'm at. I think the what the fade is actually a similar magnitude to the find your fade, and so that is using 6 or 7 skeins of yarn, but then getting a 400 gram finished object. So I'm assuming it's going to be, or would it be, the expectation, and what actually happens should be somewhere in that ballpark. And if it turns out bigger, blankety, whatever. Such is life. That would be pretty wild though, wouldn't it? I'm not making a blanket. I'm making a blanket. So, slightly different. Not as square. So, that is the story there. Would it be subject to change? I'm still definitely like looking at the sweater quantities here and being like, oh dear, need to do something. But maybe it's the case where I need to think about it instead as, or it'd be what I might need to think about it instead as being like, okay, like here is like the Cordell that I ended up spinning, that will make a lovely hitafude. What do I need to do in order to make that happen? And go at it that way instead. It's also maybe a little bit challenging because, like this sweater, like I put on the tank top, I had to open the closet. And the hitafude is probably also a similar sort of thing where having the right neutral sort of shell to go under it is an important thing. I know, is shell even the right word? Action. So we'll see whether or not the podcast next week gets disrupted the next big thing on my agenda is grocery shopping, followed by vaccination. And we'll see how things end up working out. We'll see what it be, how timings end up turning out. So it shouldn't be too crazy there. I may need to. It probably means that I need to card my bat this weekend as the priority. So I could do that. So we'll see if it's next week or not. Whatever. Make something work. But yeah, no, that's all the excitement here. Should be good. And then maybe you can see. Oh wait, you can see. The very impressive sunburn I got last weekend. Like, whoopsies. It doesn't hurt now. Ooh, it's peeling. Ooh. I had full coverage on today. I should have had full coverage on earlier as well. Poor skin. Probably shouldn't have done that. And I come from people who catch fire under the sun, so probably should have thoroughly scrubbed that out in the shower. So, whoopsies. So I need to be more mindful of that. I will need to wear long sleeves when I go out in the world tomorrow. But I think that's everything. I still have a little bit of coffee left, so I was drinking a little slow. Oh. So with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys again soon. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.